Moan, Cam Sutton, say it isn't so. Say it isn't
Yes,
so.
it is. DK, only question I have for you is, what's the backup plan?
What backup plan? Who are the other corners?
Uh,
There's a lot of stuff to go over today, and
it
we're going to
really
do
is.
that on an all-new Ramon Foster show. Second try. Can I tell you what I messed up on the first try? For those of you who are on live. Go ahead.
I'll tell you what film study is going to say. You had a mental error. That's why you out of the league right now.
I had multiple windows open, and one of the windows was actual YouTube. Okay.
Oh.
So the YouTube live broadcast of us was coming into my ears twice, like 7 seconds apart. So I couldn't tell anything apart.
Hey, players mess up, man. That's your one mulligan. We'll roll from there, okay? We'll be better from there.
At least if I mess up, it's not going to be by losing my beloved first team, first string corner on both the inside and the outside.
Yeah.
Moan, Cam Sutton, 3 years, $33 million to the Lions. You can say what you want regarding potential overpay or anything else like that. The NFL market is all about whoever wants to pay the most. It only takes one. It doesn't take all 32, and it doesn't take some average or median.
No, it does not. It's about what you think that player is worth also, and how many bidders does he have. I'd expect Pittsburgh was one of those bidders. 100% was one of those bidders. Another one had to have been Detroit. All you need is one plus one more to get your market up. Pittsburgh may have come in at about $8-9 million a year. Truthfully, that's what they lost Mike Hilton for a couple of years ago. It was about $8 million a year, wasn't it? I think, DK.
Yeah.
And naturally, the market has gone up from that point. Cam and Mike Hilton play about the same position or the same expectation. So $11 million a year for a guy like him, that is the going rate, whether you consider him slot or outside, DK.
Yeah, I mean, my problem with this is exactly what you said about depth. And I don't mean tertiary depth or beyond. I'm talking about they always needed Cam Sutton and another impact corner.
Yeah.
Now you need two of those.
Yeah.
And that's scary. Now, you can't just take again, I don't mean to sound disrespectful.
Yeah, go ahead.
Akello Witherspoon and James Pierre and whoever else, but I don't. If you want this defense to be the strength of your team, you can't go into it without somebody significant replacing Cam Sutton. And by all accounts, Cam was the guy in this free agency class, and you just lost him over what? $1 million or $2 million a year on the cap.
Probably so. And this is the thing too. That back end now is becoming very scarce as far as this is the thing too. Like the fear aspect of who walk on the field with you matters somewhat too, right, DK? The idea of the known commodities. The known commodities you had last year, whether you believed in them or not, was Minkah Fitzpatrick. Cam Sutton had a reputation, and also Terrell was in there too. As your point a second ago, Akello Witherspoon and everybody else that's along with him, yes. But in this league, you got to go overprove it. And when you overprove it, then you get the respect. Then you get the benefit of the doubt. Nobody on that secondary right now gets the benefit of the doubt except for Minkah Fitzpatrick, DK. That's where I'm at this point. It's just Minkah with everybody else until they prove more. It's not a disrespect, but they got to prove more in that defensive backfield.
Yeah, I mean, the backfield is just Minkah now.
It is.
It's just Minkah.
It's just crazy. Minkah.
You're rebuilding the entire secondary now.
And DK, this is the time of the year too now where everything changes too. I went from thinking, okay, man, they could draft here, and here. Now, I think it's obvious Pittsburgh is going for a first-round corner. You have to at this point, DK.
Well, Joey Porter's kid.
I would expect him. I've seen Pittsburgh linked to the kid out of Oregon. I've also seen them link with one or two of the kids from Maryland too. it's got to be somebody that's going to be a willing participant to play very physical too. We may have to do a deep dive or at least get some more information on those potential corners this year when it comes down to who's going to fit that Pittsburgh style. Because whoever it is, DK, has to be a plug and play guy. And that may mean, DK, listen to me, it may mean the 40 might not be the fastest. They might not have jumped the highest on the testing and whatnot. You need a walking playmaker walking through that door. You need a player. Screw the measurables. Yeah. You want to see the film match what you expect them to do whenever they get to Pittsburgh. This ain't a project type of situation moving forward for the Pittsburgh Steelers at the cornerback in the secondary in general.
See, Black and Yellow Texas Steel says, we lost a great CB2 in Sutton, LOL. Don't do that. Don't kick somebody on the way out the door just because it hurts. It hurts to lose a player of that caliber. Okay, so then you think, I'm going to make myself feel better and I'm going to degrade this individual on the way out. There are metrics and there are grades and there are film studies, all of which will support that Cam Sutton is a hell of a good corner in the National Football League. Okay, there's no reason to do this. There's no reason to try to, calm your own feelings or whatever else by saying something about him, is there?
No, at all, too. And this is the thing, too. This isn't like this is Cam's first time hitting free agency. Cam has gradually gotten better and has continually stayed consistent in his level of play. You know what you're getting from him when it's his bad plays, and you know what kind of plays he's going to make whenever he's healthy and on the field. I will agree with you on that point, DK. Cam can play. Is he your CB1? No. Is he a really good, solid cornerback in this league? Absolutely. You're asking him to do a lot of things, and he's very capable of those too. And that's where I'm at, DK, when it comes down to your point. It's not a matter of everybody can have 3 All-Pros in their secondary. It's a matter of who's going to make plays and who works well with who. And I think Cam worked well for the Pittsburgh Steelers his last few years.
Myrna's breaking some news here on the Ramon Foster Show that Tremaine Edmunds is set to sign with the Bears. I just looked off screen here to confirm Myrna's original reporting.
Thanks, true. Myrna.
These, by the way, are the teams that end up with these players. This is the NFL's salary cap system, for better or worse.
Yeah.
Unless you do grotesque things in managing your club, if you stink, you should have a lot of cap space. Okay. Yes. Unless you're the Browns and you have no idea what you're doing. and actually, and nobody would really accuse the Bears of that on a consistent basis. But these guys, they end up with a really, really good player in Tremaine Edmunds. I don't know how many people in Pittsburgh were either looking at Tremaine Edmunds or, for that matter, our friend Javon Hargrave, who came away with only $80 million.
Javon, geez, man. He cracked their head open 2 times. He got all of his deal in Philly, all of it. And then he's getting another 40 guaranteed from San Fran. Goodness
40
gracious.
Guaranteed is actually the key to that. And actually, the guaranteed money is the key to almost all of these deals. And that's something that these franchises, again, that stink, have that option because they just don't have very many good players to pay from the year before. So that's where these guys go. That part, look, I never thought seriously about Tremaine Edmunds. I definitely didn't think seriously about Javon Hargrave. But Cam Sutton,
I'll say this.
Look, everyone can say, I'm sorry. Everyone can say, we'll draft somebody. If you really think this team is going to do a damn thing in the coming season with two rookie corners, you're out of your mind.
Yeah. I think defensively, this has been the breakdown of the reconstruction of that defense, DK. I think we're officially there now. I think we may see a defensive-heavy draft coming up this year.
Oh, I mean, I think you almost have to because you need to address the front line. Starting with that, now you got to be banging on Larry Ogunjobi's front door.
Yeah, and I see Brian Brown. I couldn't talk to Cam into it, man. I would have loved to have seen him in black and gold, but I'll say this: the way Detroit is kind of building up, They've gone trenches heavy. They went offensive, defensive line. I'd much rather see us do that in the coming couple of years than us to just get some pretty pieces around the edge or do something crazy in free agency. Detroit's putting together a really good team, y'all.
They are, but they're also still the Lions until proven otherwise. You know how that goes. That was like when everybody talks about the Browns. Come on, man.
I know, but this is
they were supposed to
me.
take the big step last year, and they didn't do anything of the kind.
Listen, they also got a holdover when it comes down to quarterbacking too. They got some defense and they got some offensive linemen up front. DK, you know where I live in there. That's hitting me close to the heart, DK.
Yeah, I know. Everett Kirkland says, I'm mad, 20 gone, I'm hot. That's a fair response. Now, it's also worth bringing up that it is, looking at my calendar here, March 13. Okay. Yeah. We got a long way to go till anybody's putting on pads at St. Vincent College.
Yeah, we do, but this is also part of it too. And what Pittsburgh seems to do this every single year when it comes down to free agency. They like to build from within, and they like to get guys going into that second week of free agency. Who that's going to be, DK, moving forward, I ain't got a clue, because the guys that I was on, I thought Cam was for sure coming back. And I also thought they would at least make a play for Tremaine Edmonds. Both of those guys are gone and signed to other teams at this point. This is a whirlwind. And also the amount of dollars that these teams are giving for these guys, we've never operated like that as a franchise. So that's just hard probably for anybody in the front office. One thing you're learning too, DK, sometimes it depends on what your owners are willing to spend out of pocket to get these premium folks like that. And I don't know if the Rooney's ever operated with trying to get guys while paying out of pocket.
Well, that leads perfectly into Ray Sean's point. He says, this is bad. We have to stop being so cheap.
Yeah.
Now, there's a reflex when you're talking about a salary cap league to say, how could the Rooney's possibly be seen as being cheap whenever they're always bumping their heads against the salary cap? But there are ways around that. You brought up on one of last week's live episodes, Moan, the example of the Rams and what they did. Now, that is not the Steelers' MO.
No.
In fact, it's not anyone's MO other than the Rams. But they pulled it off the one time. They did it.
Yeah.
They mortgaged everything they owned. Yeah. They mortgaged their firstborn. They mortgaged everything.
Yeah.
And they got away with it. Why not try that in Pittsburgh?
Because you find yourself in cap hell. You find yourself selling off everybody like Jalen Ramsey, and everybody else got to retire when it comes down to the Rams. You don't know if you're going to have a new coach or GM. There's a lot of risk in doing those types of things when it comes down to saying, look, we don't care, spend the money. And this is the thing too. What if you don't get the Super Bowl out of it? That's the biggest issue that you find yourself in. Case in point, I think New Orleans was trying to get one for Drew Brees the second time around. Then they couldn't. Now they got to offload a bunch of guys or restructure. Like people say the cap isn't real. The cap is real, and eventually you as a fan base and as a team somewhat pay for it. You will pay for it. And we're looking at Tampa right now paying for it.
When we come back, lots more football talk here on the Ramon Foster Show.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Welcome back to the Ramon Foster Show. It's brought to you by the Get-Go Cafe and Market. And that's a sponsor for our Hey Moan segment, which is now the whole thing is Hey Moan segment. But you know what? I'm looking up and down these contributions from everybody. I see no references to Hey Moan, and I got to tell you, that's unacceptable conduct on your part, people.
There's a standard.
There's a standard, and the last time I checked, the standard is what?
The standard is the standard.
The standard is the standard, which means you got to come at us with Hey Moan, and that also goes for you, Dante King, who says, I think we're all completely forgetting what Levi Wallace is capable of. He's actually more reliable than most think. DK and Moan, do you agree, or am I looking at the tape wrong?
That's the thing too. It's a matter of, I'll say this: Levi is good when everybody's working around him. I can agree with that. He has some playmaking ability in you, but that's also the other thing. People are going to try him or either forget about him if you don't get him some help, and that's my issue when it comes down to having guys that haven't been, proven long enough in this league, or at least in the Pittsburgh's defense. It's very fragile. It's the way I see this secondary right now, and I'm talking about very fragile. To whereas any one of those guys in that group can be a starter. So my thing is, who's the one that's going to prevail out of all of them, DK? And to your point earlier, you got to make it through camp. You got to make it through mini camp, and you got to get to the regular season with no injuries. That's the other part that I'm looking at when we're looking at a guy like Cam Sutton leave. Like, there's absolutely hardly any depth left and no experience, too.
Carl Stock says that Joey Porter Jr. is so overrated. Please no. Let me try this
Go ahead.
first, Mon. The ratings of corners, the ratings of DBs in general, as they're coming out of college and heading into the NFL draft, tend to be based on splash. Okay, and not every corner, not every DB is going to be Minka, where they're going to pile up a whole bunch of takeaways and look like they're transformative players for your defense. Some of them, and my goodness, does young Peasy fit this bill, are just guys who cover. I can promise you that if you canvassed 32 NFL defensive coordinators right now, and every NFL defensive coordinator from the past, including Dick LeBeau, you would have every last one of them say, I'd rather have the guy who can cover.
Yeah.
They didn't care if Ike Taylor made a single interception in his life. There might come a day when football's analytics get so much more advanced that a player like Ike Taylor will be seen as a legitimate Hall of Famer because of what he was able to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the culture and the mindset right now. We are a mindset of Ed Reed, of Deion Sanders, where you got to catch it and you got to take it to the house. And I understand that's immense value.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be careful here. If this kid can cover
the
way everyone describes, then he's a first rounder.
100%. And today's offense also, Carl says, what? Teams want to air this thing out. The best defense for that literally is a guy that can at least get up. And that's the thing about Joey Porter Jr. He's long and rangy, too. My thing is this. You look at the overrated side of how you want to categorize guys, I'll say this. Moving forward, can the guy not play ball? Don't look at the measure. I don't care about him being a 4.3, 4.2, 4.4, none of those things. What does the film says? Because you know how many times guys I've seen walk in that locker room, DK, that run 4.3s, 4.2s, and can't cover worth a lick? It happens. You got to go find a ball player. You're playing in such a fragile division right now when it comes to quarterback play in the AFC North, specifically with the Browns and Cincinnati right now, because we don't know what Baltimore's going to do. You better get somebody that's going to cover. Yeah,
I mean, that's – if you have a secondary that does nothing but cover and you have T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith up front and you find a way to fortify that line, you don't need a whole heck of a lot else.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, that's just a different animal. You know, that's the way this defense has been built forever. Spencer says there are lots of decent corners left on the board. Who says that the Steelers don't pick someone up? Could you see Slay or Bradbury from Philly be the choice?
I actually love Bradbury. Slayer's pretty good, too. He has an opportunity right now, I think, to seek a trade. That's the thing up. Pittsburgh may have to actually give up something to get a guy like Darius Slay.
What a ball player that guy is.
He is a ball player. So here's the fine line. And now I saw somebody mention to Jalen Ramsey giving up a 3 for him. I feel like Jalen Ramsey is also about to get another contract. You got to look at a lot of these sign and trades, or these trades are sign and trades when it comes down to what the actual operation of it is. And Pittsburgh is going to, I feel like, try to hold over some of that cap money when it comes down to spreading it out and trying to actually build a team. This is sexy with what teams are doing. Other than Kansas City, I think everybody else that's pretty much signed a big-time guy has been below a 500. So that's what you got to also look at too, DK. You made that point earlier. Teams that are signing guys to a lot of money right now have been below 500, except for the 49ers and Kansas City. Pittsburgh's not in that position right now. What you have has been working, so you go with that moving forward.
David Smith has a good one here. Hey, Moan, see, that's how it's done. In fact, hang on, Moan. In fact, I'm so motivated by David bringing the Hey Moan that I'm going to do the get-go read. Ready?
Let me hear it, DK.
This segment, thanks to David, is brought to you by the Get-Go Cafe and Market, where quality is at the core of every menu item. 3 expert chefs, not 1 or 2, David, all 3 of them. Fine-tune every detail so that every sub, burger, salad, wrap, drink, and app is crafted for craveability. Order your favorite entry at Get-Go Cafe and Market today. Better believe it, the same way David believes it.
Yes, indeed.
David says, why do we always wait till the last minute to sign our boys? Last year, it wasn't until right at the draft. Everyone else gets real active early in free agency. What? First of all, David, they signed a bunch of guys right off the bat.
They
last
do.
Year.
It's just not the guys that you're looking for. That's the issue. Pittsburgh has a very fine problem and a good problem to have, although on the fireworks and excitement of the offseason, it sucks for the general fan. Pittsburgh has a method of staying above the line. When you stay above the line, making big splashes don't make sense for you, Dave. And that sucks as far as going to get those prime, big-time players. I'm going to tell you guys what's going to happen unless they really break the mold right now. Pittsburgh is going to go find a guy that's a very serviceable starter that kind of gets you through the next moment moving forward. And, Sonny, absolutely not. I can't see us ever prioritizing Orlando Brown Jr. That guy's going to cost you about $23 million a year for a left tackle. It's just not going to happen. If we ever sign somebody like that, DK, I may learn how to turn a backflip on the trampoline, not on the ground.
Oh, no. Ryan
trampoline.
wants to know, hey, Moan, with a sufficient amount of exclamation points, do you think Akella Witherspoon can step up if he can stay on the field?
I think he can, but that's the thing
so
about
do
it. Can he stay on the field? That's always going to be the biggest issue. The best ability is what, DK?
I believe it's availability, yes.
And guys get better by reps and learning from bad plays. He has that ability, but it's a matter of can you stay healthy? Think about how many guys have come through that locker room and not stayed healthy, and then they fizzled out. It sucks, but that's a part of it, and that's why it's hard to get – or why owners don't want to give up on guaranteed contracts.
Yeah, no question about that here. Isaiah just comes in with a great big hey moan. No nonsense, no question, no comment. He just wants that part on the record. I like it.
I like that too. I see one right here from Bert. I think I saw it earlier. I'm going back to him again, and it says, "Hey Mo, it would blow my mind if they lose Casey and Edmonds." This is the thing too. I think they can somewhat play chicken when it comes down to Terrell, and that's because he plays safety. That's why.
Yeah.
I think they got a chance of getting him, but it's hard for safeties in today's NFL to have a hot market unless you're that marquee player.
Yeah, right. I mean, I obviously can't argue with that one. There's also something to remember here, Moan, that whenever you're talking about the safeties, remember that they tried that 3 safety formation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you do bring back Casey and Edmonds, you can mitigate some of this other damage. And maybe they just throwing this out there. Maybe they looked at Cam Sutton and said, that's not where we want to put the funds. We would rather try this 3 safety thing. And I know it's not an even exchange, but
it does come down to how many can we get as opposed to how much we're going to spend on one guy. That really plays a big part of it, man.
Mm-hmm. Ryan Maxwell asks, I'm disappointed that this probably means we aren't getting any beef at 17 or 32. I wouldn't rule that out.
I would say if you're going beef, it's probably going to be on the D line. So this is where I see them at. I can see them going corner at 17 if there's one there. And right now, the way this is kind of shaping up with Carolina moving up in the draft also, that means, hey, there could be a run on quarterbacks. Then wide receivers, that means what? You get a really good corner at that spot right there, or a really good D lineman. Carolina controls the draft, and I personally think they gave up a whole lot to get that number 1 pick. That was a savvy move by them.
I liked it too. I mean, that's an organization that's going to find a way to bounce back faster than somebody else will. That's for sure here. Alex Flores asks, hey, Moan, so that the Bears got all the linebackers who would be a good fit for our scheme. Somehow I don't think that was the Bears' motivation.
No, it wasn't. I think it's going to end up being a young rookie. Just point blank period. I couldn't tell you who's going to fit this scheme as far as what's asked of them moving forward. I'd love to say somebody like Bobby Wagner, but he's an older guy, and he's probably going to cost you a little bit. And you got to look at this too. Bobby probably wants to go to a team that's a serious contender. He's primarily a West Coast kid, and he went from the Seattle to the Rams within a year. Furthest out west I'd see him going is probably Kansas City.
Let me ask you a question, and I apologize that we have a lot.
We got a lot of questions. We really appreciate this, y'all. This is awesome.
But I'm going to ask you one anyway. On this date, with this tampering and the legal tampering and so forth, how much? Come on, and you can come clean on this. Who even came up with this ridiculous term, legal tampering? And how much tampering actually goes on that's beyond whatever is legal or illegal?
So much. Do you understand me?
Yes.
Soon as March hits. Well, no. I'll go this far. As far as the agents being able to have some conversation. Everybody and their mom says, what? I see you, Jake. Jake shoots stuff. David Long Jr. is very solid linebacker. You're going to have to pay for him, but it's very solid. I know this guy. But DK, it starts at the combine. I had anxiety getting ready for my agent to call me. It was like, hey, Mon, this is what we know about you. At the combine, as far as the business of the NFL offseason happens at the combine. If you're, as a fan, can ever go up there and just watch it, it's going to be so many scouts, owners, GMs, agents, players walking around trying to figure out what their market is. It is the most important time of the year, in my opinion, DK, when it comes down to it. So combine. From the combine is about 2 weeks of rest, and you honestly trying to negotiate. And I told you before, most of my deals, DK, were done before free agency ever opened up. Like, we're getting guys at 12:01 today agreeing to deals. What early tampering? It's been tampering.
Yeah, the tampering goes on. I don't know how else to put this. Okay, it goes on all the time.
Yes,
okay?
It does.
Everybody knows everybody, and everybody knows an avenue to somebody else.
Oh,
you might know somebody's brother or sister who can relay something to the cousin of an agent. There's no way, and this isn't a knock on the National Football League. There's no way to prevent this.
Also, I mean, think about it. The A.J. Brown to Philly deal happened because A.J. Brown invited Jalen Hurts to his daughter's birthday party. That's where they got signed. To your point about everybody knows somebody, it was at his daughter's birthday party. Tampering happens all the time, okay?
Like in the middle of the song?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, 4 years, 33 million.
100%.
Oh, man. All this for free and me singing. Ruben says the Lions didn't overpay. The Steelers underpaid Sutton for the past 4 years. That's probably fair. Right?
You're always like that, though. There's a few positions that get paid in Pittsburgh. That's a premier D tackle, a premier outside linebacker, safety, quarterback, and a wide receiver too. Across the league, that's usually how it goes too.
Yeah, we can keep posting. Everybody keeps sending us stuff. Like Bates to the Falcons is coming in right now here.
All that.
Yeah, Cincinnati losing both safeties. Oof. And remember that whenever your team loses somebody, there's a really, really good chance some other team that you don't like or is on your schedule or is even in your division is losing somebody. And in most cases, this might be the most important takeaway from today, I think anyway. If you lose a player to free agency with very, very few exceptions, you expect it to.
Yeah,
okay?
100%.
You probably didn't go all in. Javon, actually, when he left Pittsburgh to go to the Eagles, was a rare exception where we know for a fact, Moan, that the Steelers made every effort to pay Javon and to keep him.
Yeah, they did. And you know what? It just didn't pan out for him. Philly had a heavier check, and it paid off for him. I mean, goodness gracious.
Yeah, it's rough. Let's take a couple more today here. Joe Abraham just comes in. Would we consider this the worst March to date? Easy, dude.
Every March is the worst one for the Steelers.
And it's the best one for the Browns.
The best trade the best move that's ever happened in Pittsburgh, DK, in my history, is Minkah Fitzpatrick, and that was before the season kicked off. Think about that.
Yeah, it was in season. It was week 3 after Ben got hurt on the way to Santa Clara. They picked up Minkah in the trade that week, middle of the week. We thought it was like, remember, message sending or we're not giving up without Ben. No, man. They
just want a ball player.
what an absolute steal that was for him. We haven't talked about this today, Moan, about Javon Hargrave's contract here. What do you think of $480? He's 30 years old.
$480 with 40 guaranteed.
40 guaranteed. Yeah.
It shows that 30 number is becoming erased a little bit if you're that good and you stay consistent. Guys now are getting paid into the 30. That's what it says for me, number one. But it also shows to what's important in this league. A guy that can get after the run, because Javon ain't the biggest or best run stopper, but he is one heck of a pressurer and one heck of a sack getter when it comes down to his position. I think he had 11 on the year at nose tackle / D tackle. There's value in that. He outpriced himself in every aspect when it comes down to Pittsburgh. But it also shows this: if you believe in what that scouting department inside of Pittsburgh offices can do at 3400 South Water Street, then you know and believe that they're going to be able to find another guy. This Javon came from South Carolina State.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and believed in himself in the same spirit that Alex Highsmith did when he arrived out of Charlotte. And my favorite thing about Javon getting paid today, in addition to kind of liking the guy.
Yeah, I like Javon.
Yeah, I know you did. My favorite thing about it is that he never how do I put this without a double negative? I was about to say he never didn't stay true to himself. He stayed true to himself.
Yeah.
Okay. Meaning he knew he was exactly the player that you just described. And even in those times when the Steelers coaches, let's say it like it is here, would want him to be a Casey Hampton type or to plug the middle for somebody else. It wasn't him. And he knew that, and he didn't apologize for it. And he said, this is who I am. I'm not going to, it's not like he wasn't a team player or something.
No, but this is also what free agency is. He leaves us from a two-gap team, meaning they got to play the run first, to very penetrating defense. Going to Philly, very penetrating defense, and going to the San Francisco, very penetrating defense also. So he's playing to his strengths now.
Very last one today comes from Randy, who says, hey, Moan, how much does devotion play a role in keeping a player? Like, I can't see DK doing sports for Cleveland to know, or you doing Hey Moan for Cincinnati. No.
Oh my.
No. But how much does it play? How much did it play for you?
It plays a lot until the business takes over. And that's why I just want to have you guys that like Cam going to Detroit. He can go out of division and be okay with that. Mike Hilton's situation, I guarantee you they probably didn't offer Mike anywhere close to what he was made. You know what Cincinnati was going to offer him. I don't think he wanted to leave Pittsburgh. Most players don't want to until the numbers have this much of a gap. When it's that much of a gap, Randy, business and common sense kind of take over to say, man, this is $4 million here and it's $9 million over here. Your wife's going to be real mad at you if you give up that extra, those extra millions is all I'm saying. So I feel you.
It forgot the wife factor. I love it. Yeah. I love it. Wait a second. You gave up $8 million because you like, what? Get the hell out of here. Here's the vacuum cleaner. Yeah. You go do this.
Yeah.
We will take one more from Jake, who says, hey, Moan, could we trade up for a DB in the first?
I think, as I said earlier, the way Carolina reshifted the draft is going to put some pressure on other teams to kind of move up or select those quarterbacks that they want to. I think there won't be a hard run on corners. I think you're still able to get a very quality guy at 17.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I don't think you need to trade up.
No.
And if you are looking at Peasy's kid, you're looking at somebody who's pegged right in that range.
Yeah, or the kid from Oregon.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a Sauce Gardner in this one. There are some very solid guys, but I don't know if there's a Sauce Gardner that's going to just say, hey, we got to have them. I think this year's run is going to be quarterbacks, outside rushers, and D tackles, I'd expect.
I'll say this again. They didn't do this by accident, and they didn't get surprised by it. That's the only thing I think you can completely take to the bank here. I want to thank everybody for participating today. We have 354 people on live right now. Yeah, right? But you know what? We're here every day.
Yeah,
so if you didn't get picked today, or don't get mad, or don't get whatever, we're here. You know, there's a lot of Ramon left between now and Latrobe.
There is, and we're still getting breaking news. We just see Jesse Bates, Nate Davis is gone, man. So many guys. Yes, and we know Tremaine Edmonds is out also. So
to Chicago,
to Chicago. This is going to be a very interesting next few days.
Yeah, it most definitely might be very interesting next few hours.
Can I say this? I'm glad a good bit of these free agents are not coming to the AFC North, DK. We're good.
Not exactly seeing a big influx into the AFC North. All right, Moan, let's do another one tomorrow. Now, listen to me, everybody. 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central is the time. Yes. You don't need alerts. You don't need little magical bells dinging off in the side of your phone or your laptop or whatever. It's just 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central, and so forth. We're here. We're here for you. All right, Moan, let's do it tomorrow. Bye-bye.
No doubt.